How we doing, everybody? Are we keeping up with comics and superheroes and seeing what is coming out to maybe come into the movies in the future? Find out what this week has in store for us. Marvel, DC, Independence. Give it a check out right now. How we doing, everybody? Happy 4th of July. Hope you guys are having some good times with cookouts, etc., hanging out with family. I just wanted to do another episode. It is Tuesday, so new comics coming out tomorrow. So let's talk about last week, what I had a chance to read. So last week, in comparison to the week before, very small. I had a huge week last week. This week, not so much. But we're going to talk about comics and will they translate to film, these particular stories and these particular heroes. So as you know, Green Arrow translated very well to the small screen. We had 6 or 7 seasons of Green Arrow on the CW. Some seasons were good, some seasons not so much. I think it was drawn out too far. I think if they did it nowadays where, we limited it to 13 episodes, 10 to 13 episodes, I think that the seasons would be a lot better. They got off the rails a little bit. Berlanti started out very strong, and then he started putting more and more of his politics into everything, which kind of destroyed a lot of those shows. But yeah, so Green Arrow, where is it at now? So now we have Ollie, who's in some kind of a multi-dimensional thing. He's, getting back with Connor, who is homosexual. They have to, put some of that into comics nowadays. So he's one of the LGBT group. And we see his other daughter, which is Cheshire, and why has he helped himself to be away from why has he sanctioned himself away from the whole family? So we find that out. Meanwhile, we have Peacemaker and Lady Peacemaker that has her own name that I can't remember off the top of my head, fighting Arsenal and Black Canary, which in this book, that is the stuff that pulls you in. That is really the strongest part of this book is that fight scene of all things going on. The Ollie stuff. So we find out he sends his older self has sent a message to him saying that you're going to do bad things, so make sure you stay away from the rest of the family, or bad things are going to happen. I don't know. Not buying any of that. And so that's why he's, sequestered himself. And then we get Parallax show up at the end, and he's pointing an arrow at him, which is kind of useless. You can't really shoot Parallax with an arrow. So I don't know. Will it make a good movie? The Black Canary and the Arsenal stuff would with Peacemaker, which is obviously from a movie, from a Suicide Squad. But all the multi-universe thing and everything else going on there, it's just too confusing. And I'm not buying the fact that he would sequester his stuff from his family, because he got some kind of a message from the future. I think he would get the family together to figure it out. It just doesn't feel right. So that's my 2 cents on Green Arrow. Not sure. It's I guess we'll find out. But the multiverse thing is just not working. All right, then we have Alien. This is issue number 3. It's a 20th Century Fox combo with Marvel. So I only have 2 Marvel books, and this being one of them. So, in fact, do I? Yeah, that's correct. So 1 DC book and 2 Marvel. So this is the continuation of the family being in the Arctic, and they discover a face hugger, and they don't realize that there's a whole bunch of other aliens that are xenomorphs that are in the ice. They the big corporation buys the corporation that the wife is doing research and she's pregnant. The husband has one arm and they have a teenager. So I don't know how they would leave those three people being a family in the middle of nowhere with no medical. So if the mother gets, I think the mother is the medical, but if she gets sick, there's no redundancy. And the husband has one arm, so he can't really fend anything off. So I didn't buy that family structure and then be alone in this research thing from the beginning. So right when you're setting all this up, I'm already tuned out. So then on top of that, now the facehugger has been released, and I think there's now a baby alien out there. One guy had, I guess, acid fall on him, so his face is kind of messed up because they have like the military security type of thing going on, and they had captured the wife and the husband and had them separately where they were interrogating them because they wanted the research. Meanwhile, the daughter is running through, the vent system, of course. Everybody's got to run through the vent system. So anyway, she meets back up with the mother and they escape. The husband beats the other guy up even with one arm and he escapes. He gets to the ship. He tells them to come on, but they have to go back to the lab to get her research? That's a book? What? Why would your research be in a book binder? Why is it not on a thumb drive? Then it'll be hanging around your neck. You wouldn't have to go back to the lab. Doesn't make any sense. You're in a futuristic situation or even a contemporary one. Nobody writes on paper anymore. What's going on? Especially if you have spaceships, you're definitely in the future, right? So anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. And he's telling them to hurry up. The whole thing is exploding at this point. And he falls, the whole ship falls through the ice. So that's where this one ends. And let's see if I can find the page. Yeah, so they're about to get on the ship and the whole ship falls into the ice. And he starts going underwater. And I really have to show this one to you because I'd like your guys' opinion in the comments below if this is even possible in this world, in this universe. Well, he's underwater now, and there's a whole bunch of aliens under there. Can they live without breathing? I don't think so. I don't think that was ever really done. I know that the alien in the first movie tried. She's out into the airlock, man. It died. I don't know. So I don't think this is a good alien movie at all. I'm waiting for this one. I like the previous one. I think that was Philip Kennedy or something like that, who was writing the one about the androids. Everybody hated that one, but I really liked that one. But there was a lot of killing and everything like that in there, and they had good setup with the characters. This one, not so much. Yeah, I'm gonna finish that one to the end, but it's definitely would not make a good alien movie for sure. I just heard there was another alien movie coming out. I'm like, why? Though they've been so bad. So now we're going to go on to Avengers Beyond. This is a mini series, and I like Greg Land's artwork for the most part. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I do. And we have I'm so confused. So this storyline is that the Beyonder, who is almost like he's almost omnipotent type of thing. He's almost like a godlike character. He's being hunted by another Beyonder that he stole the powers of that Beyonder. So the Beyonder wants it back. So his big idea was to get him onto Earth, put a force field over the Earth, or to activate it. So he's on the outside and they're on the inside fighting, and he just sacrificed all of Earth to get away. Unfortunately, that doesn't work out for him very well. So meanwhile, I don't understand whether I missed something because I have no idea where these other Avengers in, low rent Avengers, as they pretty much were called in this thing. I don't know where they came from. They just kind of appear here. So this whole book is the Avengers which you can see fighting these low rent Avengers. I don't know. I think the Beyonder gave them gave them powers or something. I don't know. These it doesn't really make any sense. And anyway, so at the end, the Beyonder is meets up with these other, I guess, members of his tribe or whatever, and they take his powers or something to that effect, and they throw him back to Earth. So at the end of this thing, he is back on Earth, and he's falling back to Earth. He goes, no, no, just like that. That's how I imagine it. He's kind of whiny. So and then he's like, no, I've been on Earth, help me again. So this has turned to complete crap. It had a good start, and it's just fallen off the map. And Landy is Derek Landy is the writer on that. And I thought it sounded out pretty good. It had some really good stuff to it, and then it just dropped off the face of the earth. So make a good movie, not even making a good comic. So unfortunately, I've been looking for a good Avengers book. Still haven't found it yet. And the Jed McKay stuff that he's starting back up, I'm iffy on that one too, because we really haven't seen anything happen with it. Okay, so now we're into Independence already, and this is IDW. It's called Bryn Mawr. So I can tell right off the bat that this was not written as a comic. This was written as a movie or a television show that was pitched. And how can I tell that? Because nothing happens in the first issue. Nothing. So this is the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes of a movie or something to that effect, because it's 100% setup. And anybody who knows anything about writing comics is you don't do that. You don't do that. Yeah, you can set stuff up, but you have to have action in it. You have to have, or with a horror book, you have to have somebody getting killed. You have to have some kind of setup for more than just setting up your characters. You've got to set up the story. You've got to get people engaged. You'd only have 20 pages to do it. And this entire 20 pages is spent on building a character. So, and this character on the cover is never seen in the entire book. So I don't know what they were thinking. But, I know exactly what they were thinking. They're like, hey, I'm going to take this script and I'm going to just word for word and panel for panel, I'm going to make it into a comic, from a TV script or from a movie script. And with this kind of setup, I would think it would be a movie script because even with TV, you'd have to have some kind of setup in the first 20 minutes. But with a movie, you have a more captivated audience in a theater, not on television anymore. That's the other thing that writers have to worry about, is that they can't do full, with streaming, and you're sitting at home watching a movie, you still have to engage the audience very, very quickly, or they're on to something else. So this one is about this guy named Turner who is divorced, has a teenage daughter that he's trying to reconnect with. He comes back to his hometown. The island is actually named after his family. They all kind of hate him. I don't even know why he goes back there, considering he's hated by everybody, or at least his family is. And he, lives in a trailer, and he has to beat up a guy because they're making fun of him or whatever else. He's like, make me, and he does. And then he meets his neighbor, whose name is Becca, and that's pretty much all that happens. And he finds a dog. That's the entire 20 pages of this thing, is the setup for this character, Turner. And he's trying to turn I guess there's a Turner curse. He's like, I don't believe in curses. Okay. So he's trying to turn the chapel, or the small church, into a house. So he's doing a reconstruction on it. And that's why he's in that trailer over there. But anyway, he finds a hatch underneath, and he goes below the church and finds a secret door. That's it. That is the entire comic. So nothing, literally nothing happens through the whole thing. So yeah, I can't tell whether this is going to be a good movie or not because there's no story yet. There's no story. I don't know, so I'm going to reserve that one. But so far, it's creepy and the character's decent, but that's about the extent of it. Then I'm loving the hell out of this. This has been a really good 007 book so far, and I think this is issue 3. And so we have Bond and this other former agent on the run, right? So they're on the run. They're wanted for murder or something to that effect. I think her name is Gwen. And so they've escaped a couple of times now. They're trying to find a scientist named Linus. So that actually happens in this issue. They find him, but they're also being hunted by 006. And I think he's the guy that really doesn't want to be there, but he's being coerced by MI5s to be there. So he goes there. He has him pinned down sniper wise, but Gwen gets the drop on him because he directs her to where he's at, and so he's getting pinned down by the sniper fire. She ends up gets a drop on him, but she doesn't kill him. We don't actually see it. We just see, her pointing the gun at him and telling him to drop it kind of thing. So Bond, escapes on a motorcycle, connects with them. And then we have, a car chase scene. They pick up Linus. And this is where I realized too that, I think it's, who's the writer on this? It's Joshua Williamson or something like that. No, Philip Kennedy Johnson. And so he knows his Bond lore because at the end, he brings in Felix Leiter. And Felix Leiter is obviously with the CIA. And they, even in the novels, when Ian Fleming was writing them, Felix Leiter was always the main character. So he's connecting Bond and Felix Leiter again. However, once he gets in the car with Felix and they go to wherever they're going, he gets a gun pointed at his head. So Felix has set him up in some way. So I'm interested to find that out because, of course, Felix wouldn't do that. So there has to be some kind of a twist here. So good action, good Bond stuff. I like the female character. Bringing Felix in is great. I'm really enjoying this. Would it make a good movie? Yeah, absolutely. It's especially after the last Bond film where they had emasculated him and killed him and, Phoebe Waller-Bridge to the nth degree here. Yeah. So, although I did like Anna de Armas, and too bad it was just too little of her. She was a really good action hero in that one. All right, and then we're going to go into Something's Killing the Children by James Tynion. So this is actually the second graphic novel. This is a full graphic novel, and this is the second volume of it. It says volume 2 right on it. And so this is 5 issues in here. I think it's 6 through 10. So in the beginning, we're introduced to Erica Slaughter. She's from the House of Slaughter, and she's a monster hunter. And we find out that so she's trained by the House of Slaughter. I think that's her real name. I think she's like an adopted for that. But anyway, so she is she's hunting these monsters. She comes to this town where this kid, only children can see these monsters. And so it goes after children initially. It will kill adults if it has to. But we only get introduced to these shadow type of creatures in the beginning anyway. I'm sure there's more to this world because they say that there's monsters everywhere. But in this particular case, I guess she ends up killing the mother creature, and there's 5 babies. So we find out in this one that in this volume that there's 5 babies, and she's trying to use the kids as bait. And the sheriff or whatever agent, I'm not sure if it's the sheriff or the deputy or whatever else, he's not having it. So he says, no, you're not going to take this kid as bait. She's like, all right, well, I'll figure something else out. So she does. Meanwhile, there's like a bunch of kids that already been killed. So local law enforcement has now laid them all the bodies out in the school gym. And they have all the parents waiting to see if it's their kids. So they're calling the parents one at a time to identify the bodies. Kind of sick. So, and the bodies a lot of times are torn apart. So then we're introduced to one of the other guys that's part of the House of Slaughter, and you find out that they're really not there to stop some of the killing. They're there to make sure that the word doesn't get out into the general public, right? So they want to make sure that they don't want mass hysteria. So they'd rather, eliminate everything, anybody who's seen one, any kind of witnesses, they want that all gone. And she's like, no, guys don't understand. We have to save these people. And what your guys are doing is just doing cover up. It's not working. So he says, yeah, I'm going to back you on this. So they in the school, kids are getting torn apart again. There's a guy that she broke his arm. But she shot him in the temple. She hit him at just a precise point that allows him to see it, even though he's older. So he's trying to run away. Other kids are getting destroyed behind him. She comes up to kind of save the day. And this other guy says, I'm going to hold him off. He knows he's basically committing suicide. And you get everybody out of here. And that's what he does. And of course, he's like, "Oh no, it's too early." They attack him, 5 of them, and they rip his arm off. And he's like, "No, I needed more time." And that's pretty. And I thought I was going to get the end of the storyline. It's been 10 issues. I thought they were going to get the end of the storyline at least. They haven't got to the end of the storyline yet. It's been 10 issues. So I guess I have to get volume 3 to find out what happens. The artwork here doesn't work for me. So the artwork is very stylized, and I love that we only see one of her eyes, and she has this big jacket that covers her face. The bottom half of her face goes kind of like a mask, and so I like all that. But again, it's so stylized, the artwork. I'd like to see, So here's. Here's the jock about to get attacked by all the creatures and things to that effect. And so yeah, it's good. I like it. Yeah. See, here's this big jacket that she has on, and that covers her face and stuff to that effect. And so I like it. And it's got plenty of gore and stuff like that in it. So it's very cinematic. And, of course, it's just getting drawn out too much, I think. I think it needs to be crushed, even in a comic form. But for a movie, it would be very easy for them to crush it into a digestible 2 hours. And still creating the world and still creating it would definitely be a rated R film. So I recommend this if you like horror or you like monsters. I recommend the book to read, and I'd be surprised if they don't pick it up for a film or television series. But if they do a television series, they can't draw it out like this. They can't. People will get bored. So they would have to crunch it. So you were fighting, a monster or killing a monster every episode, every other episode. They would have to complete the storyline and move on because you can't drag it out. But yeah, so this has been really good, and I definitely suggest checking it out if you haven't done so. You just have to get used to the artwork a little bit because again, it's not very realistic, the artwork. So it's very sketchy. But that's it. That's all I got for this week. But I still ended up talking way too damn much. What is that? 20 minutes? Jesus. So now I got to edit this thing too. But remember to like and subscribe. I am trying to get monetized, so I need as many hours as possible. So try to watch as much. If you've reached this point, then you're already kind of helping me there. But try to watch my videos till the end so that I can get as many hours as possible. I need to reach like 2,700 hours more to get monetized. So, and remember that I have my own stuff as well. So my sci-fi comic, 150 pages. It actually has a full story in here. Only $20. I'm going to put links below to where you can get that, destinyrora.net. And I also have my, I'll put a picture here real quick. Lords of LA. We're going to be launching the second volume, which is issues 3 and 4. 1 and 2 are now available. I'm also going to be running an Indiegogo real soon where you're going to be able to combine this stuff. And then my new fantasy novel, The Iron Witch, from the Tales of Ravenor series. If you haven't checked this out, it is 400 pages, and it has some really good characters in it. And I'm going to have to jump on that. I am working on a new comic right now as well with Mike Spiderslayer. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, he and I are working on a book right now, which I am attempting to find time to write. I've written a good portion of it, but there's a lot more to go yet. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and supporting my work. And until next time. But let's go do a real quick recap. So of the things that I would think would make a good movie. So this is one. Bond, for sure. And I think that's about it. Let's see. So Green Arrow, Alien, and Avengers, I'm going to say no on those. And the one I'm going to reserve, right? So all the independents is or maybe or yes. All the Marvel of DC stuff is like no. So Bryn Mawr, I'm going to reserve right on this one because I don't know yet. There's no story yet. So that's it for me. Thank you again so much for watching, and remember to subscribe. Click the bell too.